They say we're moving out of the third dimension. Where are you headed? This is Robert Manni, host of Guys TV, and this week my special guest is Cognomovement creator Bill McKenna. It all starts right here, right now on Guys TV. You can also catch me on KCAA Radio here in Southern California, Guys Radio, my worldwide podcast, and we're on UK Health Radio all weekend long. Guys TV, Guys Radio, thanks for your support. Okay, Guys Radio, it's the interview portion of our show, and we're welcoming in our YouTube and Rumble viewers to the show. Today, we're going to talk about the third, the fourth, the fifth dimensions, and maybe even more than that with our special guest, return guest, my friend and teacher, the developer, creator, and leader of the Cognomovement, Bill McKenna. Welcome back to the show, Bill.
Oh, thanks, Robert.
Let's start out with Cognomovement, because not everybody's aware of what Cognomovement is. It is a way to rewire your brain for better results and living your best life. But let you drill down a little bit more for our audience.
Okay, so Cognomovement is based in neuroscience. It is based neurological exercises for your brain and your nervous system that's going to build mental acuity. It also increases athletic performance. So we use many different methods, hundreds and hundreds of different techniques in combination that will basically coax your brain into making connections. And with that, all of your life changes. I love the way Dr. Daniel Amen of the Amen Clinic says, a better brain, a better life. Everything is impacted. If you got everything working upstairs, your finances, your relationships, everything just starts operating correctly.
Give us one example of a success story with Cognomovement for our listeners and viewers.
You know, it's hard to even choose an example because it spans literally all of life. But
you said athletes, Bill. So give us an example of how you can enhance your athletic performance.
So I'll start with the very first discovery. It was my daughter. My daughter, we were just, playing around on the floor, and I say, okay, let's do exercises. We're going to do push-ups. We're going to learn how to do push-ups today. And, okay, how many can we do? And, I showed her the push-ups. I said, okay, you do it. And it was like one push-up fell down and like, I can't do it. Yes, you can. So I'm encouraging her. You can do it. You got the strength. And she tries again. Boom, can't do it. So we did a basic Cognomovement. What I did is I got her left and right brain synchronized. And it was very simple. I have a ball with colors on it, and you catch on one side of your body and say the color. And then I had her catch on the other side of her body and say the color. And I just like, oh, let's play catch. And what we know is this actually forces information across your corpus callosum, the logic and the creative sides of your brain. So we did the exercise, and we only did it for, a few minutes, just basically playing catch. And I was like, hey, let's go back and try push-ups again. Not saying anything in the exercise about push-ups. And she was like, boom, 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 pumping off push-ups, just pumping them off like they were nothing. But it was that was the very first athletic performance set. Since then, we do Olympic athletes and everything from the Olympians in volleyball to the Olympics in cycling. They all have the same type of issues. I had a client who was going for the Olympic team in cycling and literally kept falling off the bike. falling off the bike. Within a 2-week period, they had some traumas, and they couldn't stay on the bike. Fell off 8 times in 2 weeks. You're not going on the Olympic team. Right. No, not happening. And we did the exercises, and unbelievable is, there's push and shove in the races, and she's out there racing and pushing and shoving and bang, they do these exercises where they bang into each other, and she's like having fun with it all. Mm-hmm. So it's a completely different picture. My point is that it spans.
Okay. What causes, and I want to get onto the dimensions, but what causes this communication gap, if you will, between the two sides of the brain that you need to have it rewired?
There are so many things. It starts when we're young. If we don't crawl when we are developing, there's a stage where if you don't actually cross crawl, there's a connectivity that doesn't happen within the brain. Okay. If you do this at a later age, say you just went from sitting to walking, right? Kids kind of scooch and then they walk. They didn't crawl. They have emotional problems and reading and other problems because they just went to walking. They didn't go through the stage. Other things are associated with it. But when they go through it as adults, they start this cross patterning in their brain through exercises, they may start wetting their bed for a week or two. And they're like, what the heck? What? I'm a full-grown man. How did that happen? Well, they're going through the developmental stages. What else can happen? Well, you could get a concussion. All of us bang it up, all the time. If you're in play football or mixed martial arts or anything, or just have an accident, that will cause it. If you go and certain drugs will do it. If you have an emotional trauma, something that you hadn't been able to process, these are all damages that happen within the brain, and the information doesn't flow quite as easily. Okay. Excellent. Let's, and good work you're doing there, Bill. Let's get into the subject of today, because we've talked about Cognomovement a few times on the show, and I want to devote this time to what's happening right now in our world. It seems like there is a lot of talk about ascension, a lot of talk about the fact that we've been living in a 3D world where basically we're kind of spirits that are pushed into squashed into these meat suits that we're wearing for our time on Earth. And there's a 4th dimension, and there's a 5th dimension that are more readily available to us now collectively. And some people are kind of making the move a little faster than other people. And it's an issue because it seems like there's a lot of crazy behavior on there. I don't know if it has anything to do with the recent solar eclipse, if that fostered anything that way, but it seems like people are pretty kooky right now. I don't know if you've experienced it or noticed it, but I'm seeing it more and more. And I'm fortunately on my own path where I'm witnessing a lot of things and not letting myself get pulled into the drama of how other people are behaving these days. I'm doing the best I can to be kind and just try to be helpful. Not always successful, but doing my very best. So what's happening on our planet now? And then what are these dimensions that we're talking about? The 3rd, the 4th, the 5th dimensions. I'll preface this with, if I heard myself talking 20 years ago about this, I probably would have been like, you're high on crack. There's just that is just, I can't even relate. But there's something that's really true out there. And it's, the truth is that we are moving from the 3rd dimension to the 4th on our way to the 5th dimension as a species. And so, what is that? What is the 3rd dimension? Well, the 3rd dimension is a dimension where it has certain characteristics. You're going to feel a certain way, and certain things are going to be happening. All of these dimensions are simultaneously in effect. And clearly, from what you say, Robert, is you're clearly in the fourth dimension. How do I know this? Because you have the availability of making a choice in the fourth dimension to allow others to be, do, and say as they wish, and not to be in a reaction. So in the third dimension, I can't help it. I literally can't help it. I'm in reaction. If you're having a negative thought and feeling, shame, guilt, grief, humiliation, anger, fear, resentment, all of these are literal reactions. Every time you've been afraid, did you choose it? No, you just were afraid. Every time you were angry, did you choose, like, I'm choosing to be angry? I just feel it, you know? That's a reaction. And the third dimension is one of reactions. It is a dimension that is governed by conditional love. Conditional love. That is its overlord, if you will. This conditional love sets up separation. There's yours and mine. There is judgment.
Transactional, right?
It's transactional. It's transactional. And it is the perfect for institutions. So what do I mean by an institution? I mean your governments. I mean the religions of the world. I mean all the school systems, the club systems. All of them have hierarchies, right? You know, if you wore a robe, right, you're put up on a pedestal. Judges wear robes. Priests wear robes. They're better than me. They're going to judge me, right? And well, hopefully the priest didn't, but bottom line is that there's a better and worse than. And with this, there is the laws, rules, and regulations. We put into place all of these things that literally separate us. Underlying all of this, what we have is judgments and assumptions. I'm going to see this as better than that, right? But it's including a feeling like that's crap, that's awesome, right? And we humans, when we're in this dimension, how do I know it? Is that I have one of those feelings, and I also am on a quest to look for satisfaction outside of myself, like romantically. Romantic love is very at home in the third dimension. You know, it's the pinnacle for all of us in the third dimension is, oh my God, that white knight or that beautiful woman or whatever it might be. With that, we're basically looking to them for a feeling of love, for a feeling of acceptance. It's outside of me.
Okay. Bill McKenna, my special guest on Guys Radio. He is the creator of the Cogno movement that we've talked about. Bill is also a frequent guest on Gaia TV, usually with Regina Meredith or George Norrie on their shows. So we're delighted to have him as a regular on Guys Radio, because what we're doing here is we want to bring new information to guys and to women and to everybody to help them live their best lives. And Bill always has some new information for us, including today. So we're getting into the gist of what is the third dimension. It sounds like it's kind of a fight or flight type of situation we're in. You're never really satisfied. You have a difficulty making things happen. It's just an unsatisfying dimension to be in many ways, satisfying in other ways, because we are the 3D, you know, we are connected to the earth. If we allow ourselves to be, we can be connected to a certain extent with each other. We can have our own personal sovereignty, but it can be a lot better than that. So talk to us about this evolution into the fourth dimension, Bill, which you mentioned that you noticed that you think I might be heading in that direction, and that I'm witnessing more, judging less, hopefully, and not letting other people's behavior drive me as crazy as it could, because right now people are really going crazy. Maybe that's a judgmental statement, but I'm just witnessing that. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that person just did that.
Well,
Daily.
Daily, yeah. But here's the key word you used. You're witnessing it. You're witnessing it. And you're not feeling and engaging with it. Like if I get really upset about it and I engaging with it, that firmly places me right back into the third dimension. I'm afraid of it, that sort of thing. So one of the things that happens, there is a transition that literally we're all on the path, and you're going to get there. The only factor here is how much am I going to resist this? How much am I going to stick into the old way, what used to be? So in the fourth dimension, we begin to let go of our judgments and our assumptions. And with that, we start to have a different experience of time. This is weird. But in time, in the third dimension, you're in the past and the future. And whatever's going on right now, you're just reacting. It's just rote and a reaction. And I'm not choosing it. So when I start to let go of my judgments and my assumptions about other people, all of a sudden it goes from thoughts of the future and the past to more awareness of now. And I begin to see positive things about other people, things that I like about other people. I also, interestingly enough, go from I don't even like me to I do. I actually begin to like me. And I no longer am searching outside of myself for a good feeling. The good feeling is just in me. Things will bring me pleasure, but I start to experience them as pleasure. But the feeling I have is rooted in me. Whether I have that great donut or that vacation, I still have this wonderful feeling in me.
Because you're you. Let me ask you this, Bill. So how do people deal with the institutions we have are fostering this feeling of separation and judgment, judging on everything, this or that, this or that, this or that, black or white, the polarity, whether it's politics, whether it's cultural issues. I mean, this is being driven to us at all times. We're all on this path heading towards the fourth dimension. How can people make sure okay, we're doing what we're doing now, having this conversation to help people become aware of what's going on. How can people then begin to put themselves in a witnessing perspective and start to enjoy all there is in the fourth dimension? Because I can attest to it. I think it's a lot better. I had something happen to me the other day as part of this process where I'm one of the coaches on my son. He's 11 years old, 10 years old, going to be 11 soon, baseball team. They had lost every game, but they've been inching closer and closer. And finally, they got to the point where they put it all together and they were in the last inning. And I saw I felt the energy in the stands of the parents and the kids. And my son was on the mound pitching. And I could feel it. And when he got the third out, he went storming off the mound. They all came running. I actually felt, and I'm not like this, I felt their joy. I was as happy as they were for them. And usually I would just see that and say, that's great. But I actually felt that joy. And it was as good as the joy that I would feel about myself. And I had another thing happen where I gave somebody a recommendation for a job, and I knew this person really needed a job, and they called on me. I gave them a great recommendation, and I was with so much, I felt so much love for this person to put that I was so pleased to give that recommendation. They got the job, and I'm as happy as I could possibly be about any job that this person got it. And that's not like me, but that's how maybe I'm changing that way as part of this ascension process. And it's not about me. I'm just a regular person, but I'm aware of this stuff from speaking with people like you and other thought leaders we've had on the show. So what I want to do is show folks out there that, this is the type of stuff that can happen if you put in the energy and the intention to really raise yourself up and do more and enjoy life the way you can really enjoy it, because the fourth dimension is more enjoyable.
Oh my gosh. First of all, congratulations. Congratulations. That is, the evidence shows up. The evidence of what dimension you're in literally just shows up involuntarily. You're actually feeling joy for another. And this isn't like in your head. This is in your body, correct?
In my heart, yeah.
In your heart. So in the third dimension, you're considered that your primary is survival, right? My health, my finances, our relationships, meaning predominantly sex. And these are attractions and aversions. You're going to find strong attractions and strong aversions in the third dimension. And the other is power, my personal power. Again, either like strongly attracted or adverse, right? Got a real strong feeling about it. When you go and move dimensions, your literal feeling and the focus within your physical body changes. You are in transit right now to the fifth dimension. In the fourth dimension, our attention starts to be drawn to the top of our head and our forehead area. And you'll find that it's very different than the sides of your head. But in the fifth dimension, our attention migrates again, and it migrates down to our heart. When we are feeling this joy like that, you were embraced in their joy, you felt joy for them, and you felt their joy.
Yes.
As one.
Well,
one.
So for our audience, Bill, this just happened to me and I noticed it. How can folks out there who are interested in the same thing, and we're all headed in this direction anyways, and some people will reject it, of course, like anything, and that's their right. But other people want to know what's out there. How do they enjoy life more? How to make things more fulfilling? What are some of the things they can do to make this transition, which is happening anyhow, easier, unless they want to reject it?
Okay, there are what I would call the low-hanging fruit of do it right now on the show. Right now, right here. The first thing that you can do is to allow others to be, do, and say as they wish. Begin there. Just that. That alone will take you forward. Why would you want to do this? It will make you free. If you try it right now and you just let go of the feeling, is like, I'm going to allow you to be you. I'm going to allow you to have the life that you created for yourself. This is particularly difficult when you have family members that you care about. But I'm going to allow you to have the life that you've created for yourself so that you can grow. We're here to grow. We're here to change our mind. And when I free myself up, the most interesting dynamic happens. Those people that I did try to hold in position, whatever that might be, you'll find that they're actually closer to you. They start liking you. You'll find that your life starts to go easier. In the fourth dimension, life happens through synchronicity and coincidences. It just starts happening. And it happens at a faster and faster pace, what you put your mind on. Ultimately, when you get to the fifth dimension, I'll tell you a story. One of my students this morning, this happened this morning. One of my students, 86 years old, on a hike, 86, very healthy, just as vibrant as you and me. And she's starting to get low blood sugar. And she knows if this happens, then I'll get a migraine and so on and so forth. And she's like, I'm too far. I've gone too far. I can't get back to my house. I'm going to have to, go this whole loop to get back to the house. I would really like some cheese. She's in the Northwest, by the way. This is the Northwest in the forest. Man, I really would like some cheese. When I get back there, I know there's cheese in the fridge. I'm going to have that. And she's thinking about the cheese. And, she's in that state in her heart. And all of a sudden, the dog, she looks down at the dog and the dog's like gnawing on some package, gnawing on a package. And she looks down and she's like, damn it, he didn't get into the package. But the package is salami and hermetically sealed cheese. She was like, oh.
So things start showing up. I love it. I love it.
But it wasn't a monkey. It wasn't a snake. It wasn't a window. It wasn't a car. It wasn't a body. It wasn't 1 million things. It was cheese. And that was just today. This is a very real phenomenon when they talk about these dimensions. I thought when I first heard this, I thought, you are so full of it, right? These, that you think something and it's going to happen, especially like that. Oh, just a random weird coincidence. But now, decades later, I see that it's damn truth. I had another person, literally this happened. I think I told you the story, but I haven't talked about it on the air. A friend of mine is reading a recipe at lunch, and it calls for corn salsa, and she's there and says, reads the recipe and says, oh, damn, I really wanted to make this chicken with the corn salsa, but I don't really want to go down to Trader Joe's and get it. I'll just make something else. She puts the paper down. No kidding. It was 5 minutes. 5 minutes. A knock comes on the door. Opens the door. Oh, hi.
Here's your salsa delivery. Trader Joe's here.
Trader Joe's. No, it's not just salsa. It's corn salsa from Trader Joe's. And she was like,
wait a minute. Just that was it? Somebody from
seriously. One of the neighbors came over and says, hey, you know what? I know we haven't met before. And, I'm your neighbor. I have this corn salsa. I took a spoonful of this corn salsa. It's not contaminated or anything, but I just didn't like it. And I just thought about you. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if you'd like this corn salsa.
That is hilarious.
And I was like, oh, why? Actually, I would. Thank you so much.
So, Bill, and my special guest on Guys Radio, the creator of Cognomovement, and we're talking about dimensions today. Bill McKenna is here with us on Guys Radio, and we're having a fun conversation. So, the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions, again, we are trained to stay in the third dimension. I'll give you an example with texting. So many people communicate more and more using the little box and putting words in there, and you don't know sometimes irony or sarcasm or what's funny and intention of the words. You just get flat words in a little box. And to me, it perpetrates the separation of the 3D separation. So it seems like everything in our system, including our technology, is continuing to drive us to stay in the 3D dimension. So my question is, what else besides kind of the witnessing, what else can people do? Our audience out there, if they want to start to evolve to this fourth dimension where they can make things happen more quickly on the way to the fifth dimension, where manifestation is way faster, what can they do to start to reap the fruits of living in a fourth dimension?
So, so as we go through this entire thing, this interview today, we're kind of unpacking little kind of snippets of each dimension. And once you start to understand the aspects of the dimension, then you can actually choose different aspects and start to evolve. One of the things that you can do in the fourth dimension is you become willing to accept change. You're willing to accept change and you begin to forgive. You forgive yourself and others. If you can begin this process of forgiveness, it sets you up to be experiencing kind of the synchronicities, the coincidences, the positive relationships, and feeling a feeling of love for yourself. Now, in the third dimension, it's a dimension where we experience fear and doubt.
Mm-hmm.
In the fourth dimension, we now begin to experience love and trust. So we migrate from those aspects of fear and doubt. In a way, it is the exposure of truth. It's when I begin to trust. What happens is I merely begin to simply see the truth. And for everyone listening, you know, we all have financial concerns or concerns for our health. But the truth is, ask yourself this. I was born and I'm so many years old today. I'm 30, I'm 50, I'm 90, however old I am. Did you always, for all of this time, you were born, you got here, and did you ultimately have enough to eat? Ultimately. May not have been the food you wanted, but did you have enough to eat? The fact is, you're actually listening to this. So look at the litmus test this for your life. Did you have clothes on your back? Did you have somewhere to sleep? Even if it was under a bridge or in a tent or a sleeping bag, you had somewhere to sleep, something to eat, and you made it. You made it. So the truth is the truth of your life. That's whatever your experience is, will be your truth. Now, as we move dimensions, truth is exposed and trust comes out. Now, this goes from the very biggest of pictures to your own personal life. What do I mean by that? Has anybody noticed that all of these situations, like, you know, the Catholic Church and the pedophiles, that, you know, the Epstein, Weinstein scandals, all of the things around the Boy Scouts and their exposure. Have you noticed the Me Too movement and that all the secrets that these women were holding got exposed? All these people got exposed. It's not a coincidence. It is migration from third dimension. Third dimension is where secrets were held. Governments are all about that. Go ahead.
Why now? Why is this happening? Is it a timing thing? Where some people say 2000, the year 2000, and the Y2K that came and went, and then a lot of people said 2012, and then people are saying, oh, the solar eclipse, all this stuff's going to happen. Is it all is it all a process that these things are starting to open up?
It's all just a process of things naturally evolving and opening up. It is a very grand, timing. In different cultures around the world, they describe it in different ways. In the Indian tradition, they're called yugas, and these are grand cycles of time. And with all of these grand cycles of time, they have certain aspects, meaning there's an evolution and there's a de-evolution that happens. We happen to be in this one cycle where we're evolving. So they have cycles of time they call a day of Brahma. Brahma being they all, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. And it is everybody's heard of the Big Bang, the explosion. Well, nobody really talks about it, but there's also an implosion. So you have the Big Bang and then you have the reverse. So this is a day in the life of Brahma, and then they have it divided down into other cycles. And the characteristics of these are very well defined. In the West, we have these Golden Age, Bronze Age, Age of Enlightenment, these sorts of things. So it's just that is something that we're all going through, and it's inclusive of our planet and us as a species on the planet.
Okay. The then transition, if you will, the evolution from the third dimension, which it seems like this planet and humanity have been in the third dimension for thousands of years. We're moving quickly into the fourth dimension. Things seems to happen faster and faster with every passing year. What is the time frame? First of all, double question here, Bill. What is the fifth dimension, and what is the time frame for our evolution into the fifth dimension as a species?
I don't have really a time frame. I just don't have really a crystal ball to be able to say when that's going to happen. But a lot of people are already beginning to experience it. These weird things like we talked about, the cheese and the corn salsa. These are becoming
instant manifestation. And talk to us about the fifth dimension. What actually is it? How does it differ? Because it seems like this fourth dimension is kind of a bridge to the ultimate, for us at least, the fifth dimension. There's many more dimensions beyond that, but it seems like fifth dimension people talk about all the time. There was even the band, the fifth dimension, the age of Aquarius, and making things happen right away, and telepathic thoughts and manifestation instantly, and just a lot of different things happening quickly.
So the fifth dimension, you're right. I like to call it the training wheels. We're on our way to the fifth dimension, and the fourth dimension is the training wheels to get to the fifth. Now, what do I say the training wheels? I say the training wheels because we have to let go of our judgments and assumptions and all of our reactions, and we need time to do that. It's not going to happen instantly, right? We're humans, things stimulate us. In the fifth dimension, what happens is that we begin to migrate down to your heart, like your experience, and we begin to feel joy not only in and for ourselves, but for others. And you said something super important when you said that about your experience with your son. I experienced viscerally their joy. This is the experience of oneness. I'm experiencing oneness. And the fifth dimension is about oneness. So you had a moment in time and a couple of flashes here where it's starting to pop for you. And with that, what happens is more and more you will experience it, and bliss will emerge because you have stopped judging and you are experiencing that joy of other people. You will experience instant things happening, like the corn salsa or the cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to show up kind of like a pop, like, what the hell's the cheese doing here that I really wanted? It's like very shocking, and you'll almost deny that you had anything to do with it. But this fifth dimension, the characteristics of it are a feeling of oneness, a feeling of peace, a feeling of bliss. You will experience instant karma because you're now begin to feel one with others. Whatever I'm doing to them, I'm doing to me. And this is in all respects because I am in this oneness. Now, what happens is we go from, in the third dimension, linear time, which is 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. In the fourth dimension, time speeds up. And you're also in the fourth dimension, in the third dimension, my attention is in the past and future. In the fourth dimension, I am beginning to actually have more attention now. And in the fifth dimension, there is only now. Everything is happening now. You've heard about this and people experiencing it after they die, that all things are happening now.
At the same time, right? Yeah.
The same time. So you will experience things happening in two ways. I mentioned some of the positive ones, but there's also the negative ones that show up because you're, for example, in this state of joy and oneness. And then if you have a negative thought, it pops you out of it, all of a sudden something might happen. Okay. But we can talk more about that.
We can, yeah. So the point is, mind your thoughts, because you can make it real good, and if you're not careful, you can kind of get on a slippery slope. So much more to discuss, so much more to experience, so much more to learn. And as they say, when the student's ready, the teacher shows up. And one of my teachers is Bill McKenna. And hopefully for all of the listeners and viewers out there, we're learning a lot from Bill today, as we always do. So thank you for being on Guys Radio. Tell everybody where they can find out more about you, Cognomovement, your partner, Liz Larson, and all the great work you guys are doing.
Oh, fantastic. So I have a little gift for everybody. If they like, they can go to Cognomovement, that's COGNOMOVEMENT.com/Gaia, GAIA, and they can get the dimensions. You can print it out and put it on your refrigerator. There's also a class there. It's free. You can have this and you can see where am I at and what's going to happen. There's a bunch of different features that you'll see. I want it. Well, thank you. Cognomovement.com/Gaia.
Great to see you again. Thanks for being on Guys Radio, and we'll see you again sometime soon. All best, Bill.
Thank you.
If you enjoy the guests and content I bring you each and every week to Guys TV and Guys Radio, please support us by subscribing to our channels and platforms. Thank you.